Once a male has an orgasm, then his emotions are released. Now, some of them will sit and play and swim in it, while others will run out that door with their tail in between their thighs. And I say, honey, you can run, but that shame's gonna get you.
Okay, I have a working theory and it goes a little something like this. I believe that gay people and trans people have a huge lesson of self-love to learn in this world, in this body that we're born into. Think about it this way. Many of us in the past, when we were ready to come out of the closet, we knew that potentially we were risking losing everything. Our friends, our family, our jobs, our status, our significant others, and you know what? We went and did it anyway because we realized in that moment that none of those things or none of those other people is who we are. And that risk is worth taking. Potentially losing outside things to gain ourselves. In today's woke world, I feel like everyone does the exact opposite of what we did in the past. They want everyone else to validate them. They're looking outside themselves for self-love, which doesn't work. They expect people to tiptoe around them using preferred pronouns. Their feelings are at the top of the totem pole. And none of these things actually teaches you self-love. But I found somebody that especially demonstrates my point to the highest degree. But first I'll have her tell you a little bit about herself.
My name is Kendall Penny. To my boys, I'm referred to as Miss Penny. Formalities are of importance to me as I'm a Southern belle from the South. What do? I show up for men in the ways in which they refuse to ever show up for me. What is a seductress but a feminine entity that seduces men and then consumes them for her own power, essence, entertainment? Simultaneously, though, she gives to him something that of which the wife cannot, which is transparency and honesty, a space of vulnerability, and not then using that against him, because at the end of the day, that's what all men want. All wives and girlfriends say all the time, darling, just tell me what's going on. Tell me what's bothering you. And then if the man actually falls for that trap, then she becomes disgusted. She sees him as weak. She becomes insecure because his sexual attraction is something that she probably cannot offer him. And what is a woman going to do? Well, then they're going to go and slander him.
When you started doing this work after your transition, what do you feel like are the most powerful lessons in self-love that you've learned?
Because I realized I could sit and cry, Arielle, in my bed all day long. Woe is me, what the world won't give to me, right? Oh, why can't I have somebody? I've taken pain and I put it into purpose. I've taken trash and I've turned it into what? Treasure.
I love that.
I've been on a stage ever since I was a child, in multiple different types of stages, from drag to I played the viola from the age of 10. And then I got into adult entertainment back in 2014 as a cam girl. Shame is my #1 game. Degradation is my love language, honey.
So you were raised Christian conservative and straight, right? And you told me that you were on the path to be a pastor.
Yep, I was the altar boy, but I was extremely religious, even more so than my family. And I tried to use religion as a means to deliver myself from my profane sexual desire. I sexually conditioned myself starting at the age of 13 until 17, 18, when I finally just gave up and gave in. I couldn't. It just didn't make sense to me that if I had given myself so much entirely to a God who actually made me this way, then that God is not a loving and just God, but one that is a sadist and loves to see its children suffer. And I ran to the left like so many of us little queer fairy children did. And they were like, come child, come, mother will bless you and protect you. And they did. As long as I continued to conform to their ideology and their understanding of the world. I went there and I'm like, I'm a woman. I'm a real woman. I'm a real woman. What's so funny is I majored in anthropology so that I could substantiate my existence through cultural critique and analysis through time. And trans people have always existed. It's almost always been male to female. You can look at the Hydras of India, the Fa'afine of Samoa, the Mahu of Hawaii, the Two-Spirit of Native Americans, the Ladyboys of Thailand. But we were extinguished in with the Western world, and so was our history. So we don't know who we are. So then we run and thrust ourselves into a camp that says, come, I will take care of you. I will show you. I will lead you the way. And all they did was lead me astray. I was like, okay, so I've been a queer person my whole life, and now I'm supposed to be a straight woman? how does that even make sense? Women are going to smell it a mile away, honey, once I start running my tranny trap mouth. After going into so many different camps and communities trying to conform and be a part of, I finally realized that no one really has any contextual understanding of me as a person. And they don't really care to, because what they're doing is they're fitting a narrative that fits for the group and believing that that fits for the entire whole, which is a diminishment of individuality, which that is our God-forsaken right as Americans, is personal freedom, liberty, individuality, right? Those are things that people have died for so that we can have that. I realized that they could never bring my existence and experience into the fold, have respect for it, and then understand that I could have a different way about me to bring about success. And that goes for the femdoms. That goes for the T-girls in the industry, who I'm now a pariah to by and large. That goes for all of the social activists and the queer camps. And before it was the Christian conservatives, right? Back when I was young. But ironically, that's my largest demographic now. I literally see pastors' sons. You know, if you look at my content, the majority of the males have a cross around their neck or a cross tattooed on their body.
How did that affect your life and career? You said it flourished after you actually...
Because I was trying to validate my sense of gender identity through straight male sexual consumption of me. They see me for who and what I am and have appreciation for it. It is the most dumbfounding and complexing thing for me to really comprehend, because I thought that these were my oppressors, but these are my own kin.
Wow.
And so I give to them that of which our once community shunned us for. And the thing is that the majority of these males really have always been attracted to biological women, to women. But then they develop this attraction to trans women. The way I refer to myself as a tranny. I don't like the idea of a trans woman. I'm a tranny. Thank you very much.
So basically, by being your full authentic self, it allows other people, mostly who apparently are Christian males, to be themselves, to feel comfortable, conservative, to feel comfortable with themselves. This is the exact opposite of what the woke trans narrative suggests. In my opinion, the way you're doing it is the way we should do it, because that's true self-love. Knowing your worth, knowing who you are, coming to the table like, this is who I am. If you don't like it, bye. If you like it, here I am. Come and get it. And guess what? When you put out that energy for yourself, people come and get it. Right?
And they love it.
And people would never guess that work like this is not only sexually healing, but spiritually healing, emotionally healing, mentally healing, physically healing. This work that you're doing, and people might think I'm joking around when I say this, but it's powerful. It really is, you know, to be able, and it's all coming from, like I said, it's all coming from you knowing who you are. The reason I wanted you on the channel is because I wish more trans people, queer people, whatever you want to call it, I wish more woke community these days had you in mind when going out into the world.
I've spoken on many panel discussions. I've been all over the country. I've lived in LA. I've lived in Portland, Austin, Charleston. I've been all over. And so I've been affiliated with them, but it's just nothing but endless assault. But what it is when you have sexual repression for extended periods of time, trauma and sickness festers in it and crawls up it like a vine that strangles that person. And where does that trauma nestle itself but into sexuality? And then you can release it. That's what BDSM is. I am a dominant. I found my confidence in my feminine form. No longer shall I acquiesce to the desires and sentiments of men. That's what they pay me for. I don't get on my knees for men. You do. You pay to get on your knees. I put you in your rightful place, and you shall smile at me beneath me. And they do, because I show up for them
as your authentic self.
And that's what BDSM is. It is a trauma release. But what is the trauma? Shame.
Authenticity.
Society hates the tranny, not the trans woman, because the trans woman has had her tongue cut from her throat and is compliant. The tranny doesn't. Well, I have the tits and I got the dick. A woman cannot ever understand what it means to sodomize with a dick. She can with a phallic thing.
Right.
But that makes me different. It diminishes my ability to give to the world for the things that I have in difference to a woman and also a man, because I'm extremely empathetic. I'm compassionate. And those are things that society says women should be. But I'm powerful. I am aggressive. I am financially successful. I am a leader. Those are all the things that society says a man is to be. That's why if you look cross-culturally, in Iran, for instance, you can be trans so long as they cut your manhood off. Then you're acceptable. Society is terrified of the tranny terror. We are a terror. We are the embodiment of shame, because what we are a reflection of shame because everyone has said that we are shameful. But what ends up happening is they are actually revealed for who they are when they relate to us.
The truth is, when you seek validation from the outside, you are not seeking it from yourself, from the inside, which is where self-love comes into play. That's what it means. Love for myself. Reacting in insane ways like throwing fits, trying to cancel people, get them fired from their jobs, shaming, guilt-tripping people into having sex with you. These are all horribly abusive. And regardless of what the progressive woke people tell you, it is not the way to find self-love. Interesting point to end the video on. I wanted to talk about how I find it funny. The same woke individuals that are constantly saying trans is beautiful are the same people who are not admitting the biological differences between trans women and biological women. Here's the truth. Not every fat person gets made fun of. Not every shy person gets made fun of. Not every trans person or gay person gets made fun of. Those who are insecure with themselves do. That type of energy that you are putting out draws that same type of energy back to you, which, funnily enough, reaffirms your lack of self or of knowing yourself. The purpose of making this video is because I truly hope the LGBT community, even though we're not an LGBT community anymore, I truly hope that we can find our way back to knowing who we are, knowing our worth, regardless of what other people say, regardless of what other people think, regardless of what pronouns people use or don't use for us, because that's where we were strongest. It's where true self-power, it's where true love for yourself comes into play. We need to get back there. If you love this content, be sure to subscribe to me on my locals page, arielle.locals.com. I post a ton of content there that I never post here, and I'll see you back here in a few days. Bye.